Well, hey, welcome to episode 9 of the Blended Family Coaching
Yes.
Show. We're excited for you to join us. And today we are going to be diving into a counterintuitive approach to building healthy bonds and strengthening bonds, specifically between the step parent and the stepchild, right?
Yeah, it's so important. You know, recently we were asked a great question. This is really a great question around bonding. And they asked, how much should a step parent do? You know, what
When
does
it comes to bonding.
Yeah, what does a step parent need to be doing? And then how much can the bio parent help in this bonding process? It's a really great question. And we're going to tackle that today.
That's right.
We're going to give you this one really simple strategy. It's very powerful. And not only that, but it can be kind of fun.
It can be fun. Yeah, that's right.
Especially for the step parent.
That's right. So join us. We'll see you on the other side of the intro. Welcome to the Blended Family Coaching Show, where you'll discover how to move your step family from just surviving to truly thriving.
Grab your headphones and listen in as we share practical, real-life strategies for building healthy bonds,
Understanding the kids' perspective,
romance and partnership,
parenting with great teamwork.
and yes, even co-parenting with a difficult ex.
We're Mike and Kim Anderson, and we believe with the right tools, every step couple can overcome the common challenges of step family life.
Join us for authentic and sometimes comical conversations to discover how you can lead your family with confidence and create the future you really want.
All right. Well, we are so glad again to have you here. And before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to one of our listeners, Renee, who recently left a review for the podcast. Yep. Renee said there are so many areas where you can be blindsided in blended family life, right? And Mike and Kim know them all. That's sweet. Thanks, Renee. I don't know about all of them, but we're definitely had our
We
fill.
know a lot of them.
That's right. She goes on to say they've got you covered, whether you're a bio, a step, or both, and they combine their considerable expertise with a huge dose of compassion for everyone and give real actionable advice that's so helpful. Man, we really appreciate that, Renee, and we want to be able to show up well for you. She says, honestly, I don't know what we'd do without them. We just appreciate that. We're really grateful for you.
Yeah.
Renee, leaving that rating has helped us, right? Because every time someone leaves a rating or a review, it moves us up and makes us more visible in the whole podcasting world. And we want people to be able to access. So thank you for helping us with this. Anytime you share a rating or review on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, you're helping other people to access the support that they might need.
That's how it works.
So help others and help us as well. We really appreciate that.
Yeah. Thanks, Renee.
That's right. Now, if you want to one-up that, you could also consider maybe listening through this episode. And if you find value in it, share it out on your social networks, maybe Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat, wherever you're hanging out. Just share it out there, because I'm betting that there's someone in your sphere of influence who probably needs support around blended family life too, because there's a lot of us out there.
And specifically around what we're talking about today, which is building a really genuine bond between the step parent and the stepchild.
That's right.
And that's a process. All right. Are we ready?
I say we dive in.
Okay.
Enough of our self-salesy stuff.
Here we go. So when I married Mike, I mean, I knew that Mike was a terrific person.
Aww.
I knew his heart, and I knew that he cared for my daughter, Annika. There was no doubt in my mind that he was going to be a great stepfather, a great influence for her, and really a positive person in her life. There was no doubt in my mind.
I had some doubts.
But my daughter did not have this same knowledge of Mike. And a lot of times when we come into step family life, we know that this is going to be awesome, that we know the heart of the person we're marrying. We've had conversations. We've explored these things.
Sure.
But our kids don't know anything about them. Our kids are kind of on the outside of that knowledge. And they don't know anything yet,
That's
right? It takes some time for them to discover this.
Yeah. We hear that frustration quite a bit, right?
All the time from bio parents, especially.
Yeah. And parents kind of don't understand. They don't know why aren't my kids warming up to this new person, right? They're so great, right? If they just give them a chance. I know that they would see.
We've heard that one so many times.
Yeah. And that can be really challenging for parents and step parents alike.
Yeah.
Being a step parent who feels distant from a stepchild can often be really challenging.
Yeah, or devalued even sometimes. We've heard that before. Now, unfortunately, the truth of the matter is that I could sit down with my daughter and tell her all day long how great Mike is. And I could just, let her know all of his redeeming qualities and
there's a lot of them.
And and how much he cares for her and what an awesome new step parent he is. But the bottom line is that's probably not going to have a lot of impact on her.
Right.
When we sit down and lecture our kids about their new step parent, it tends to go in one ear and out the other.
Yeah, that's right. And really, like it or not, I mean, kids have walls when they come in, right? They're not coming in completely open and ready. They come in sometimes with small walls that are really not that big of a deal to kind of work through. Others have huge fortresses of protection built around them.
Walls.
And a lot of that has to do with previous experience and fear. Some of it is personality type. There's all kinds of reasons why there's these walls coming in. But as parents and step parents, we have to recognize that those are the walls that are there, and those are usually just fact. And our job is to patiently help the kids dismantle the walls brick by brick, one little step at a time.
Yeah.
This takes a while, right?
Yeah, and sometimes kids have that wall because a new step parent is a threat to the adult. This is a great advantage. This is awesome. It's a positive. But to kids, that new step parent is a threat. And so they're going to put up a wall and they may be very guarded.
Yeah. It's a threat to my time. It's a threat to my space.
My
it's
relationship
a threat to my relationships.
with bio parent.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
And a lot of time, warming up to a new step parent is a process, right?
It is.
It takes time and we've got to be patient. You've said this a lot of times before that kids need to discover the great qualities about a step parent, not have it forced down their throat, right?
Yeah, like I said, I could lecture my daughter all day long, but it's really not going to have that much meaning to her. But if she is able to discover on her own what an incredible person Mike is, that's where the real power is. When they can internalize that for themselves rather than being told that they should like this new person in their life, they should accept this new person in their life. That's a lot of pressure too.
Sure.
It can actually make things a little more difficult for kids.
That's right.
They get confused. They feel pressure. What they really need is some space to figure this out for themselves.
Yeah, and working through the process is going to take time.
Yeah.
It's going to take patience, and it's going to take teamwork, right? Because both the parent and the step parent, when we were going through this with Annika, we both played our own individual roles differently. But when we both played them well, that really helped influence the process and let Annika discover for herself some of the things that we already knew about me being for her and that kind of thing.
So we know it's going to take time, and we want to release the pressure off the child, but that doesn't mean we're just going to sit back and do nothing.
That's right.
We are going to move forward with this strategy that we're showing you today, which we did in our blended family, that really made a difference in how quickly those walls came down without the added stress and pressure. That's the last thing we want to do to our kids is put more expectations on them.
Yeah. Now, as coaches, we spend a lot of time coaching step parents how to back off from parenting and discipline, right? Especially in those early years. It can be really challenging. We want to jump in. We want to be respected, all of those things.
We talk a lot about connection before correction.
Yeah,
so
that's
we
right.
don't want step parents jumping in to correct.
Yeah. Early in our journey, we learned from one step family expert, his name is Ron Deal, about the importance of the step parent backing off from the authority role.
Right.
And that was a really important thing. But as we kind of got into the grind of day-to-day blended family life, we thought, okay, there's got to be a little bit more to the story as well. And so we started wondering, well, what does it look like, not just to avoid the things that negatively impact this bond with a stepchild, but also how can we start to really lean into some positive bonding moments?
Yeah, we wanted to supercharge the positive.
Yeah, what would that look like, right?
Without adding the stress and pressure on my daughter.
Yeah. And as a step parent, it seems like often we hear the message, and I don't know if it's kind of the one that just sticks and sometimes we miss some of the other messages or what, but often we hear that message of, as a step parent, hey, you're just supposed to back off.
Yeah.
Like they get the advice of all the things you shouldn't do, all the things you need to avoid.
Yeah.
And so what we want to talk about today is what's something that you can do, a way that you can work together as a couple to really elevate the status of the step parent in the children's eyes.
Yes.
So that's where we're going to focus.
Yes. And it's a great thing to focus on. We didn't do everything perfect in our blended family, especially in the early years, but this is one thing I feel like we really got
did
right.
well.
Yeah. I think it benefited your relationship with Annika.
Definitely.
All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about our kids' perspectives and just kind of how kids work, right? Because the truth is, we all know this. Kids love to hear good news, right?
Only kids?
Well, kids
I think everybody loves to hear good news.
Everyone does, but you've seen your kids light up when things go their way.
It's true.
Right? Guess what, kids? We're going to the water park today.
Yay,
what do you get? Oh,
that's right. Yay. Or, hey, we're going to go get some ice cream later. Who doesn't like to go get ice cream, right? Unless you're lactose
That's
intolerant.
always a big one. Yeah. Or guess what? We were able to buy those new basketball shoes that you've been wanting.
Yeah. Or, hey, we just heard from all the RSVPs. All your friends are coming to your party.
Yeah.
Right.
Those moments.
Those are all great new things.
Yeah. Those moments when your kids go, yeah. I mean, you know what those are.
That's right.
And the magic that happens in that moment when something is going the child's way, that's what we call the sweet spot. And we love, love, love the sweet spot when everything in their world is going their way. Because what happens in the sweet spot is the walls kind of take a little dip for a moment.
The brick weakens.
Yes, the brick weakens. And at that point, kids seem to be more open to internalizing more positive things. And more positive interactions and more positive influences. They're not as guarded when you hit that sweet spot.
Yeah. Now, the cool thing is that sweet spots can be both big and small.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be huge things.
Yeah, like the examples we just threw out there, those are pretty small things. They're pretty simple things. But maybe you've got a vacation that you're planning and someplace that the kids really, really wanted to go. They were excited about. We're going to start talking a little bit here about how do we share that news and how do we really leverage the power of the sweet spot when it comes to building bonds between a stepchild and a step parent.
And the goal here is to elevate the status of the step parent in the child's eyes without having to lecture. That's our goal.
Years ago, it was about a year after we got married, we decided,
it was early.
I think Annika was about 6. We decided we were going to take a family vacation to Disneyland. In fact, we were meeting some of your family there. We were meeting some of my family there. It was a huge crowd. It was a lot of fun. But when we were getting ready to go, the thing that hit us is, you know what? This is a sweet spot moment coming up. We didn't necessarily have that language yet, but we knew that this was an important moment. Unveiling to Annika.
And it was her first time.
Yeah, her first time to Disneyland. And so in that moment, we said, you know what? When we share the news, Mike's going to take the lead. I'm going to take the lead as the step parent to create a little bit of connection just in that moment, delivering that good news. So I got to really intentionally lean into the sweet spot moment and build a connection with her that was a positive association.
Yes, so there's a positive association. And what we're doing when we apply this strategy is we're helping the child to discover what you already know. I already know that Mike is for my daughter and that he wants good things for her.
Yeah.
So when I allow him to shine in that moment, in the sweet spot, when I allow him to be the bearer of good news and to make that positive association, Annika is learning for herself that Mike is for her and that he wants good things for her.
Yeah.
which is so much more powerful than me telling her that.
That's right.
She's experiencing it.
And that's true for all of us as people, right? As we discover things for ourselves, it's way more powerful than when someone tries to tell us what we should or shouldn't believe.
Yeah. And every time I stepped back and allowed Mike to be the one to deliver good news to Annika, every time she received that positive reinforcement, that positive message from him, and her walls were down at that time. So she was much more ready to receive it and able to kind of absorb that.
Yeah.
And
Now, what does that mean? So, okay. So we're saying, okay, we find this sweet spot. We know that our child is going to be excited about this news. We're going to enter into that. We're going to put the step parent in the front.
Let them
We're going to
shine.
let the step parent shine in that moment. They're going to have the spotlight in the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Right?
That's good.
And what does that mean for the bio parent then?
Well, that means that there were many times that I had to give up being the bearer of good news.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I wasn't there. I didn't get, I still got to enjoy it and see her face light up.
We didn't send Kim to her room or anything like that.
And this sounds like a bummer deal for the bio parent, but I was focused on the bigger picture.
Yeah.
I had bigger goals, and what I was doing was investing into our future as a blended family by allowing that moment to take place for her to experience you in that way. So taking advantage of these positive associations during these sweet spot moments, it's kind of hard to say.
It's a little bit of a tongue twister. That's right.
Is only part of the story.
Yeah.
The flip side here that we've got to really be aware of is that we also need to protect our kids and our new spouse from the negative associations.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're leaning into the positive associations by putting the step parent forward in that sweet spot moment.
Yep.
But then you just said we also, the kind of the flip side of this is protecting the step parent from negative association with that stepchild. Say a little bit more about that. What does that really mean? We're so excited to let you know about something brand new we've created just for you.
We've realized that with so many episodes available here on the show, it might feel a bit overwhelming to find the topics that matter most to you. That's why we've created a simple tool for you to receive a personalized playlist focused on your current struggle or your biggest challenge.
That's right. It's called the Blended Family Breakthrough Quiz. You'll answer just a few questions, and based on your responses, we'll email you a curated custom playlist of episodes that are specific to you.
This simple quiz will direct you to the most impactful episodes that pertain to you personally and keep you on track in your journey of discovery, learning, and growth. So, scroll all the way to the bottom of the show notes for this episode and click the link to take the Blended Family Breakthrough Quiz today.
Okay, let's get back to the discussion.
Well, in doing that, what I did was intentionally shield you from being associated with the delivery of bad news, right?
Okay.
So any bad news, any negative consequences, anything that she was going to be bummed out about, I didn't want you to be associated with that.
Okay. So now we're back into the advice we hear from lots of different sources of it's when it comes to discipline and authority and all of that, that's a time for the step parent to back off.
Right.
But what that really means is working as a team. That means the bio parent has to step in.
That's right.
Why is that so hard?
The bio parent has to step up. Well, no one likes to discipline kids.
Yeah.
No one likes to do that.
Yeah.
It's not fun, but it's our job. As the bio parent, that's my job. And I already have the blood bond with my child. I already have that relationship. That can't be broken. So I am the one who's best positioned to deliver the negative side of things.
Yeah. But what we're saying here is that means you pretty much always get to be the bearer of bad tidings.
Cop, yep.
And on top of that, you're losing out on doing some of the good news delivery as well.
Yeah. But it's not going to disrupt my bond. My bond is secure. The focus here is to build your bond as the step parent with the stepchild. So I had to keep my eyes focused on the big picture.
So you're having to give some stuff up, though.
You are.
You're having to say, well, I'm going to let Mike step into that positive role, and I'm going to be present, and I'm going to enjoy the moment as well. But I don't as often get to deliver good news. And let's just also clarify, as we lived this out over the years, it wasn't this hard and fast rule like Mike
Every
will always,
time.
anytime there's good news, I better get Mike on the phone.
Yeah,
like, no. It's not like
no.
that. But it's very intentional as well along the way. And in the big things like the trip to Disneyland, but also in the little things like, hey, Annika, we get to go to your favorite restaurant for dinner tonight. And so it was more of kind of a principle we were trying to live out as opposed to a hard and fast rule that we were trying to set in place for our blended family. So I think people need to really understand that and grasp the difference there.
It's more about looking for opportunities where you can let the step parent be the hero. That's really what it's about. It doesn't have to be every single time. It's not hard and fast, like you said, but you're looking for opportunities for that step parent to make an impact and an influence that's associated with the positive. And honestly, the outcome of my choice to do that, because it was a choice.
That's right.
The outcome in our family, it was so worth the sacrifice. It was so worth it because you and Annika eventually built a really close bond. And still to this day, you have a loving relationship, and she has greatly benefited from your influence, which she maybe would have never been able to experience that had we not kind of ramped up the positive side.
So let's talk a little bit about then, that's true, but Annika was 5 when we got married. And there's some people where they get married and the kids are 13, 15, 16 years
tough.
old. That can be much more challenging than a younger child. I know Annika at a young age, and we hear this a lot, many younger children are willing to connect and don't have as many walls up. And the research shows that as well. So that's not as challenging. However, what we hear from the couples that we get to coach and that we get to work with is the more that they lean into this idea of the sweet spot, the more that they can allow that positive association to begin to happen with a step parent, the better that bond grows. And so whether they're 6 or whether they're 16, this is a principle that can really reinforce the messages. Hey, I'm for you. Like, I'm dependable. I'm going to keep delivering positive messages. I'm going to keep showing up and all those things. And sometimes, even delivering good news can be intimidating for step parents when the child is 16 and they're feeling distant and you've got to go, even just deliver good news. That can feel very intimidating and challenging. But I want to challenge you to step up to the plate there and start small. Work on, okay, we're going to go to Johnny's favorite restaurant for lunch on Saturday afternoon. So as a step parent, is it okay if I just step in and tell him about that? Sure, go for it. One tiny little positive association. And you might get the,
that's okay.
Whatever, you probably will, at 15, 16, a lot of times the whatever response is kind of common, but that's okay. Research shows these positive associations when you keep showing up and keep showing up and keep showing up over a long sustained period of time, that can impact a positive bond. And so this is for everybody. This is regardless of what stage the children are in, regardless of the struggle that you're having or the challenges that you're facing. This idea of leveraging the sweet spots is really for every blended family.
It can also be challenging for a step parent who is maybe hurting. Maybe the stepchild has said damaging things and been rude and disrespectful, and the step parent maybe feels like, I don't know that I can deliver good news. I'm feeling really resentful towards this kid right now. And so that's something to work through. If your attitude isn't
genuine,
if it's not I'm on this kid's side and I want good things for them. If
Yeah.
you can't genuinely express that, then there's some other work that needs to be done before you step into this strategy.
Yeah.
But this is a really great strategy to start off with, especially.
Right.
And
That's
let
right.
that child internalize for themselves that step parent is a positive person in their life.
All right. So step parents, step up to the plate and really look for these sweet spot moments. Now, what about bio parents?
Well, the bio parents have got to be okay with stepping back and allowing that to happen. We talked about that.
Yeah. It might sound a bit over the top.
Yeah. I mean, I do have parents say to me, oh, that sounds manipulative. It sounds over the top. But you know what? It works.
That's right.
And, our kids manipulate us all day long. I don't see anything wrong with turning the tables a little bit.
I don't know about that. I just don't see this as, no, it's not manipulative.
It's not manipulative. If you genuinely have, and we're not saying that you create good news for your kids so that you can do this strategy.
Right.
If you genuinely have good things and your kid is going to be like, yes, awesome, all's great in my world.
Yeah.
If you know that that's coming, then let the step parent deliver it. Let them shine in that moment.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It isn't easy, honestly. No. It wasn't easy for me because Mike got to be the good cop all the time and I had to be the bad cop.
Yeah.
But I really, truly wanted Mike and Annika to have a strong and healthy bond. So I was willing to step back and let Mike shine in her eyes, and I still got to be a part of it. I just let him take the lead.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was well worth the sacrifices. It was worth it. I don't regret it one bit.
The bottom line is that kids really need to discover that their step parent is for them. And the number one way they can do that is having a lot of positive associations.
Yeah.
It takes time because a step parent wasn't there from birth.
No.
And so that takes time.
Yeah, we do have to be patient with this. And, one of the things we talk about is low and slow.
That's right.
Bonding is a very slow process and it takes time. And you may have kids in your step family that are going to test the step parent. So those walls are going to take a longer time to come down. They're going to see if that step parent is going to accept them or going to stick with it and hang in there with them.
That's right.
And they may continue to reject. And so it's going to take some patience and consistency along the way.
Definitely perseverance.
Oh, yeah.
But in the long run, it will definitely be worthwhile.
It will be.
Yeah. So we've got a challenge for you this week.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Here's what we want you to do. We want you to intentionally enter into that sweet spot moment 3 times as a step parent.
Yep.
Okay. I don't care how small they are, and that's totally fine. In fact, I would suggest we start small, but really enter into that. And bio parents, let the step parent intentionally step into that sweet spot moment.
Yeah.
And after you've done that 3 times, I want you to connect as a couple and just talk about, well, how did it go? How did the child respond, right?
Yeah.
How are we both feeling about this overall strategy? Is this something that we want to continue to be intentional about?
Yeah. If you're a bio parent and it's tough for you, talk about it. It's okay to say it was hard for me to stand back and be in the background of that.
Yeah.
And maybe you do every other one. Maybe you take turns. Like there's no hard and fast rule around this. This is really just a mindset and a strategy to try and see how the child responds and then just keep it up.
Definitely.
See what happens.
Yeah, that's good. So we're looking for just 3 sweet spot moments this week. I want you to find those 3 and then sit down at the end and talk about it.
Yep. You can do it. You can do it.
Absolutely. So don't forget to share this episode out to your social network. Share it with other people so they can find us and get the support that they need. And remember, when you have a chance to leave us an honest review, we will read that. Now, we want you also to tune in next week for episode 10. That'll be kind of fun. The 10th episode.
Number 10.
but we're going to be talking about preparing for the holidays.
Oh, yeah.
Special days can be really challenging in step families, especially
one of the most
when
challenging times.
Kids are moving back and forth between two homes, or they could even be grieving, not being able to be with another parent for whatever reason. Holidays can be challenging, and dealing with an ex sometimes is challenging. So tune in next week. We'll share a little bit about prepping for the holidays, and we look forward to seeing you then.
Yep. Take care.
All right. That's a wrap.